Hey, welcome to the Wealthy Idiot Show. Today I want to answer the question, is college worth it? The answer is no. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Alright, I was just kidding. Let's dive into this a little bit deeper, find the information we're looking for so that we can have a real conversation about it and not just skip over the really important details that we need to know when making decisions about what we're going to do with things like going to college or convincing our children to go to college. So some of the stuff I want to highlight, I'm going to link all the resources down below, so I'm just going to kind of skip them as far as explaining to you where this information is coming from. You can look it up yourself. But the first thing I want to note is that it makes very little difference what college you go to determine your final outcome. You can go to a local school, you can go to a junior college and then go to a local school, which reduces your overall costs. You can go to a prestigious D1 school, or D1, that's for sports, Ivy League school, and at the end of the day, you're going to end up getting a job, and over the course of the span of your career, you're going to be making about the same as everybody else. As someone who has hired people before, I can tell you from experience that I don't look at people's college degrees once they've got industry experience. I look at what they've done in the industry, how they measure their success, and then when they come in for an interview and they talk to us, we look to see what their skill sets look like, how they handle adversity, how they fit within the team, and then we make that offer in order to hire them. The actual college experience isn't something that we really look at. In fact, recently we've hired someone from a coding bootcamp, which I want to talk about next. The average starting salary from someone who went to a coding bootcamp is $69,000. This is rough within the last 2 years. It might have gone up, it might have gone down, depending on how the economy is doing. But it's about $69,000 for someone who immediately exits the bootcamp and goes and works in the industry. The average cost of a coding bootcamp is about $13,500. For a college grad with a computer science degree, their starting salary is $67,000. So that's over $2,000 less than a coding bootcamp person, which is interesting. But their cost of going to school is between $25,000 for an in-state tuition and almost $41,000 for out-of-state tuition. So you do more time, you spend more time at school, you spend more money at school, and you graduate and you end up making less money than had you gone to a specialized institution to teach you exactly the thing it is that you're going to be doing in the industry. And then to top that all off, the average student from a college or university ends up with student loans averaging at about $26,000, almost $26,000 in total at the time of graduation. Why do I think this is? So I think that what we're seeing is we're seeing college kind of degrade a little bit in its ability to produce high quality employees and to fit people into the industry. They're more concerned with a very generalized liberal arts style of education. But so is high school. So what ends up happening is you take English in high school, you go to college and you take English in college. You go take math in high school and then you go take math in college. You take, World War II history in high school and you take World War II history in college. And the only exception to these things, or the only difference between these things is maybe the amount that you have to read or the amount of lectures you have to attend or the, strictness or toughness of the assignments that are given to you. So, you can say, like, I worked harder on the same topic in college than I did in high school, which, might be true. But at the end of the day, a lot of this information that we're digesting and we're regurgitating is available to us on the internet pretty easily and pretty quickly for a lot of what we do. And I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off just by saying that. But the reality is we are memorizing and regurgitating data that's available at our fingertips. We're not producing people who are strong critical thinkers or people who are great in industry and finding that they know how to fit into that corporate, the corporate environment, how to produce as a part of the team when they show up. That's something that's learned once they get there. However, coding boot camps are recognizing we have to fit people into a team. They have to be good at what they do. We have to give them the skills in order to start producing on day one and to know how to do that. And so they're gearing their education to finding ways to produce people and an educational experience to get that person into the job as quickly and as best as possible. Because of that, I think that's why we're seeing a switch in how much is being made by a college student versus a coding bootcamp student. Not to say that college is necessarily something that people should skip out on, but I think it's starting to lose its overall sort of implicit value when we say things like, hey, college is producing, like go to college, get a job, make a lot of money, retire. I don't think that pattern works exactly the same as it used to. Another really interesting stat is that the for average earners for college, it shows that you earn over your lifespan a lot more money than someone who just leaves or just gets out of high school with a high school degree. But that number is dramatically offset by the averages of engineering degrees. So computer sciences, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. These are high demand jobs that are producing really high incomes because of the skill set being very precise. And then on the flip side, we're seeing things like a lot of liberal arts majors are averaging lower, like under $40,000 as a starting salary. So that offset is kind of showing that, college may not be, we can't say for certain that same person would have made less or more over their lifespan having not gotten that college degree, but I think it's becoming less and less of a requirement to meet that sort of pattern that we expect in life. Something that might be more interesting to do instead of going to college right away is to maybe save some money, buy a multiplex, live in one of the units, rent out the other units, and build wealth in that multiplex. And then at the end of that first 4 years, you're going to be so far ahead of all of your peers who are now $25,000 in debt with nothing else to show for it other than a degree that we're starting to see kind of is losing value. So how would that look? So I've got a couple of bits of data here. The average home price sold for about $450,000 in 2022, which is extremely high. That's going to be about it. If you live in the unit, if you buy a unit and you live in it, you only have to put 3.5% down. So you take out you have to have a down payment of about $16,000. So save $16,000, get a job, save $16,000. And then the mortgage with the PMI is going to be about $2,800. And $2,800 sounds high until you realize that the average rent for one of these subunits in a multiplex is $1,100 in 2020. So that $450,000 number is a 2022 home price. Rents in 2020 were $1,100. If you got a fourplex, you rented out 3 units at $1,100 each. That's $3,300. That covers the entire mortgage of the house with an extra $450 on top that you can use for however you need to. That doesn't include things like principal pay down, so the loan is getting paid down by your tenants, and that all of this money is tax-free. That may be something that's more interesting. And then once you start to produce some wealth as a result of that process, going to something like a coding bootcamp and finding what your niche is. It doesn't have to be a coding bootcamp. It could be an engineering bootcamp, nursing bootcamp, something that where you can find what the amount of money that industry pays and the cheapest way to get into that space. And by the time you're in that space, earning the same as all your college buddies who are still trying to pay off their student loan debts, you'll have equity and cash flow from a property that they just can't compete with. So we'll do more episodes on this sort of house hacking in the future, but I think that the data is starting to show that college may not be the best course for somebody, and that should be seriously considered before just signing a blank check for someone to go off to school to drink alcohol for 4 years. Anyways, check out our website down below, wealthyidiots.com. My name's AJ. Like and subscribe. Smash the like button. I didn't get to that earlier. I appreciate that if you did, and I'll see you guys next time.